Welcome to day 153 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of February 2007, which was the best movie of all time, Ghost Rider.
Welcome back, Nicolas Cage.
Yay! We missed you.
I guess we'll start with this. So, about a third of the way through, I was like, wait, in City of Angels, he was an angel. But then, Valen pointed out that he gave up being an angel to become a human. And then Tara was like, wait, so this is the sequel to that movie.
Yeah, basically.
So we're
He
taking
just went
that.
through all three stages.
Yeah.
We're gonna take that as the canon.
Yeah. No, see, after the heartbreak, so okay, the fact that, the beginning of this movie starts with him as, a quote-unquote teenager, even though I looked up the actor who played him at that time was 26, so, but whatever.
Okay.
Just pretend that doesn't happen. Okay, so that's non-canon, fuck that. So what happens is he is an angel, and he falls in love with that woman, and then he becomes a man, but then, right, she dies, right, in City of Angels.
Yeah.
So that heartbreak then causes him to turn to the devil. And then you get Ghost Rider.
Oh my god.
Nick Cage did deliver.
Yes.
He was hilarious.
Yes.
As usual.
We made no freaking sense.
No.
Yeah, this movie is unbelievably loony and weird and does not make sense.
And it's great because of it. This is a pretty quintessential, so bad it's good.
This is so bad it's funny.
Yeah. Especially, watching this with multiple people. Because we just, so many times we were just what's going on, or wait a minute, just pointing things out that make no sense.
It's fun to snark if you're familiar with Nick Cage, just either as a meme or as an actor.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, because if anything, I wish they just went more crazy. I remember, I've seen reviews for this one and also the second one, and in the second one, there's something about he turns a crane into this giant flaming buzzsaw thing. You know, it's shit it's shit like that. That's so crazy. That's oh my god. So I kind of wish that was in this, but because again, there's moments where they try to be serious, with the whole quote unquote relationship that's just stupid, right?
Or the edgy villain.
Okay, yeah, the villain is terrible.
Yeah.
He's so bad.
My aunt was like, wait a minute. This guy reminds me of Edward, and we were like, oh yeah,
No,
you're right.
I said that, but whatever.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Valen said that.
I was
Yeah,
he looks like
so-
Edward.
Oh, I said that it's also a crossover between Twilight and City of Bones. I know I'm gonna get a lot of
that was
hate
what it
for
was.
that,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
I don't care.
Valen was like, this guy reminds me of Edward from Twilight, and then my aunt was like, no, this is a crossover between that and the City of Bones.
I mean, he doesn't. I mean, well, I don't know. I haven't seen the Twilight movies, but I don't think he acts like Edward, but he looks like him. It's kind of weird.
I don't think he acts like Edward from what I remember from when I read the books when I was younger. But
I mean, evidently he thinks he's very spooky and edgy and scary.
Yeah, he's so not intimidating. It's just
No.
ridiculous. And
he's literally like a child throwing a tantrum every 2 seconds. He's on screen.
but it's that's not the point though. The point is that he's supposed to be scary. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
he's supposed to be a badass and he totally fails. It's just oh my god. And okay, his freaking his idea makes no damn sense because okay, I mean spoilers I guess, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So, he. It near the end of the movie, him and Nicolas Cage, they get in a fight, and he's trying to burn his soul or whatever. But the villain's well, I don't have a soul, so you can't do anything to me, right? And it's okay, fine. But then the whole goal of the villain is to absorb 1,000 evil souls, and so then Nicolas Cage is you're made of souls now. I can burn you. And he's like, oh shit, and then like dies immediately. And it's like, what? Hello? Like, did you not think about that?
Evidently, he did not.
Oh my god, you're so dumb. And then, okay, the most disappointing thing of this whole movie is the fucking old dude played by Sam Elliott. He's like the older Ghost Rider guy with like a fucking horse or whatever, and it looks cool as shit. And he like rides with Nicolas Cage like towards like the evil guys, but then
arguably the horse looked like better than the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, by far. I was like, if there was a Western about this dude being the Ghost Rider, I would watch that. And I don't like Westerns.
Yeah.
And I was like, sign me up for
Yeah.
that.
But
movie.
then he like stops and is like, that's as far as I go, and then just leaves. What?
And it's just like, that wasn't, you didn't even lead him to the place. You just stopped in the middle of a road. And we were like, yep, you can go from here. And it's like, but what was the whole purpose? These people spend time CGIing that whole scene just for him to just stop.
And it's like,
Goodbye,
think
American
about
Jesus.
how cool that would have been if it was like the two of them fighting shit. Like that would have actually been pretty
Yeah.
awesome. 'Cause
Yeah.
it is-
Like if he had like flaming guns and stuff.
yeah, I mean they kind of tried to do that in the climax anyway, which and again, but they made it seem like really anticlimactic. So it's like okay, but because to be honest, the fight stuff with him with Ghost Rider is like it's silly, but it's still like kind of cool in like a so stupid it's kind of entertaining kind of way. So like if there was two of them, I want to see that. Like sure, but okay. Speaking of the effects, besides like again the horse looked pretty good, but like every other effect like looked pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
aesthetically, Ghost Rider is like it's like so ridiculous. He does kind of look like fun, like entertaining, but like in terms of the objective quality of the animation, it's like no, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Like Mai said that it looks like Hollow Man, and like it's not that bad, but at the same time, Hollow Man was like 6 years ago, so
Yeah.
this should have like again we just saw like Dead Man's Chest like not that long ago, and that looked so much better.
Yep.
So yeah.
Then, also another thing is, just going off from the very beginning of the movie, it's like, so he sells his soul to the devil, basically to save his father and make him healthy and everything, and it's just like, let's think about this logically for 1 second.
The devil is kind of an asshole.
Yeah, do you really think things are going to end very well for you or your father?
You sold your soul. I mean, he's kind of the whole, like, embodiment of all 7 deadly sins, the devil is. So, do you think he'll get greedy and try to take your father's soul too?
No, but wait, think about this. Hold on. So the whole point is that so he lost his soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, so what? Like, really, what was the consequence of that? That he like couldn't get hurt in those in those stunts? Like, how is that a problem?
That's true.
Oh,
And then the other
wait.
thing too is that it's only at night that he turns into the Ghost Rider, but he was still able to like interact with people, have friends, go on the date that he was supposed to go on, but he ended up just spending the entire time standing in front of a mirror.
He was dating himself, actually.
Oh my god.
And then, oh yeah, and then the woman she like pulled out an 8-ball for no
Where did
reason.
that come from? It never came back
Yeah,
ever
what?
again.
That was so random.
I was like, she definitely couldn't fit that in her purse. It was probably a clutch purse.
It's just like, no, okay, actually, I would, and the thing is, this is like a Marvel movie, and I'm like, they should remake this. They should remake
Oh, yeah.
this in the sense, again, like, I guess they probably can't get Nicolas Cage to do it because he's kind of old now, but like, I don't know who to get, but anyway, they should get someone and have it be like full on. It should be like Deadpool-esque, where it's like it's more kind of comedy-ish, where it's like, yeah, I sold my soul to the devil, but like, so he like tries to he like has a normal life in the day, and then he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna be Evil Skull Man, let's go. You know what I mean? And like does shit at night. Like I don't know, like I feel like because again they like try to make it serious at points, and it's like no, just fuck that. You don't need it. Just go all out, complete like lunacy, embrace the edge, embrace the everything. It's just It'll be great.
Can we follow Cowboy Ghost Rider instead too?
Yeah.
While we're at it.
Oh yeah, no, because then they could actually bring in like, you know, have him do like a bunch of them from like all different like time. Dude, oh my god, I have like great ideas. Holy shit, they need to have like a fucking like ensemble of like Ghost Riders throughout time,
Oh
Oh
my
my
god.
god.
and just shit with that. Like literally have like a samurai one, have like, you know, the cowboy one, have like a fucking I don't know.
Oh, a sailor one.
Oh yeah, do like
Like on a
a
battleship.
pirate. Have they could do something like a medieval knight kind of thing. Yeah, like do all that kind of shit. Just like go from there. Like, come on, just complete lunacy. Just go all the way, and yeah.
Can you imagine a caveman one with like a mammoth?
Oh my god, yes, needs to happen.
Even though religion did not exist back then, let's have a caveman.
Who cares?
Oh my god.
Yes,
Man on a mammoth.
someone like make fan art of that. Like, I need to see that. Caveman Ghost Rider.
If anyone is an aspiring Marvel writer, go pitch that and see what happens. You might get a career.
Yes. Okay. So.
Wait. Can you imagine if there was a Ghost Rider that was in the NASA program and became an astronaut?
Oh my god. Like shooting
Ghost
up
Rider
aliens.
in space.
Ghost Rider.
He's becomes an astronaut. And he they're like in like the ISS, and like it like transforms into like demonic ISS.
A giant like meteorite.
Oh my god.
What is happening? We're making up our own canon now.
And then they could like do a crossover with like the Doom universe, because the whole thing with that is that like Mars is a portal to hell or something, right? So they go to Mars.
Oh my god. This is getting really meta.
Oh my god.
Oh my, this.
But someone please do fan art of the caveman and the mammoth, please.
I'll be so happy if you do.
Yes. Oh, so this movie's very silly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, did anyone really think like this would be anything other than what it is?
No.
Evidently Nick Cage didn't, considering he ate jelly beans out of a cup and watched
Oh
monkeys.
my god. Oh yeah, all the weird Nick Cageisms.
And where he was like holding his nose like in front of the mirror, and then like was like, he's just like, what the fuck? Are
This
you
movie
doing?
you just have to watch it to see what happens.
Thing is,
There's no way to describe it.
I want to watch the sequels now. I just want to see what happens. All the ridiculous shit. Yeah, it's just this is like definitely such like a great, so bad it's good kind of movie. I'm trying to think like I'm very much in my head comparing this to City of Angels. I think just in terms of like how much it fails in terms of what it was going for, what was like, you know, a real romance movie. I think City of Angels is actually still funnier because of how much it failed in what it was trying to do.
I
But-
definitely laughed more during this movie, but like I felt so uncomfortable during City of Angels.
I don't know, they're very close. But yeah, so they watch City of Angels for the prequel to Ghost Rider, and then watch Ghost Rider.
Prequel experience of Nick Cage. It's just like an introduction to Nick
Yeah.
Cage's.
And then yeah, and so watch City of Angels, then like skip the first like 15 minutes of this, and then watch
Yeah.
the rest of Ghost Rider. And then you...
You'll see our new canon
Yeah.
for this. Oh my
It's the NCCU, the Nicolas Cage Cinematic Universe. Yes. Anyway, so it's February,
Yes, true.
and somehow I managed to think of something that's somewhat related-ish, truth-wise.
Okay.
So, because the whole thing about, I guess this quote-unquote curse that's so terrible is that, like, you know, he can't die, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remembered that, I'm gonna get some detail wrong here, and technically this is not a fish, but there's a kind of, I don't know if it was a jellyfish or if it was a hydra, but it was something like that. One of those Nidarian things, where they actually reverse age themselves.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. So like they, you know, they're born and then they grow up, and then when they, you know, start to get old, they actually reverse back to a baby.
Oh.
And then they can regrow again and then reverse. So they're like effectively immortal.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So,
Ito?
and they're trying to use like tests on them to figure out like kind of, you know, if there's any
How
sort
they
of
do it.
yeah, like cell stuff that they could maybe integrate into like anti-aging stuff for people. So,
I think it's like anti-aging stuff and also for cancer, I think. also.
yeah, I think so. Well, the idea I think was maybe to try to like revert the cancer cells like back to how they were before. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe
Like
I don't
out
know.
of existence.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, because I remember there's a Kurzgesagt video on aging and like different methods of like preventing or like slowing down aging and stuff like that. And there's like 3 different ones. I forgot what they were. I think one of them was like I think it's a protein. Basically, there's some kind of protein that like your body starts making like once you're like 20-ish or
yeah.
something, and like it's basically the aging protein where things start breaking down. And so there's one thing where supposedly if you do this, either insert some chemical or maybe some other cell thing where it actually like delays the creation of that protein, so it effectively delays your aging. So that was one thing, but then there was something else. There were 3 of them. I don't remember what the others were.
I don't remember either.
But yeah, it's interesting because like, you know, before when people would die at like 30, you know, from like some random infection,
Or really anything.
yeah, we didn't really have to worry about, you know, becoming
Aging.
old. So now it's this weird kind of thing where it's like, because I have also heard that like, you know, we one of the thought processes is that like we've pushed, you know, medicine so far where literally it's like we kind of can't go much further and our bodies just, you know, they break down, and like so there's a
Right.
thought where
Yeah.
excuse me, it's kind of like, well, it's also like with cancer how it's like it's kind of inevitable in a sense over a period of time. And so it's kind of saying like, is there an actual like maximum age that like you cannot get past? So there's kind of that thought process, which is, I don't know, it's interesting to think about, because then on the other hand, there are also things where people kind of try to like extrapolate trends of like, you know, how old people end up living. And so some people say like, oh, like the first person to live to like 200 years old is like already alive now or something, you know. But also there's like, you know, because the rate of how old people are continuing to be is like increasing. So it's like it's accelerating, but then the question is like, well, is that going to continue, or is it like going to start decelerating, right? Like, how does that work? You know, are we gonna end up having people that live like hundreds of thousands of years? You know, probably not, but maybe, who knows?
Can you imagine if it goes into like Lord of the Rings where it's like elf life?
Oh yeah, we're gonna become elves.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna talk about something that like is so removed from any of this, but whatever. You ever notice, and I know I've talked at least to you about this at least somewhat, how like in almost all media, like immortality is like portrayed negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's usually like that's what the bad guy wants to do, right? He wants to make himself immortal, and that like, you know, and usually it's like, oh, he does it by trying to do something bad, but sometimes they even frame it where it's like, you know, being immortal is like selfish, and it's like, how could you, you know, try and like go against the natural way and stuff like that. And my thought of this is always like, fuck that. like, if I could be immortal, I would do it. Like, you know, that's... And, like, I get there's so many arguments. It's like, well, if you're immortal, then, like, you know... Well, okay, if you're the only immortal person, then, like, okay, that's... I can see there's some issues with that. But, like, you know, if there is some sort of technology or whatever to do that, then it's like, well, literally, you know... Cause it's one of those things where... The arguments that I see is like, oh, why immortality would suck is usually like, oh, well, your passage of time would get, like, really skewed, right? Because if you've lived for 1,000,000 years, then, like, 100 years is, like, nothing, right? So, you know, so, like, okay, I guess, but, it, like, if other people are doing that as well, then I don't think how that's that much of an issue. And again...
Especially since, considering, like... It's kind of like comparing, like, something like a pet's lifetime or like a goldfish's lifetime to a human. Goldfish is definitely not going to live 100 years or something.
Yeah.
But for that goldfish, every minute probably counts way more to the goldfish than a minute does to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how, at least for mammals, I know this is true. If you graph, like, lifespan versus heart rate of, like, most of the mammals, it's like the slope or whatever is like a straight line. So it's like the number of heartbeats a mammal has in its lifetime is, like, roughly constant.
Right.
Because, like, small things live less, but they have faster heart rates, right? So this is kind of, again, how that can work. But again, that's, like, natural heart rates. I'm sure humans are kind of off of that scale somewhat. But, yeah, and it's frustrating to me because, like, my main interests are astronomy-related things and, like, evolutionary biology-related things. And the timescales for those things are very long. So it's like I remember I posted something, like, on Facebook at one point where I was like, you know, the fact that, like, I only live for, like, 100 years at most is, like, really depressing, considering the things that I'm interested in span over millions of years. And I'm like, damn it, I want to see that, and I won't be able to, and I'm sad. It kind of reminds me of there's, like, what do you call it? Thought experiment? I don't know if that's not the right word. It's one of those, like, kind of what would you rather do kind of things.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to go into it now because that's like a completely other conversation that's going to take, like, a long time. But there's something kind of to do with that I want to ask you about at some point. But definitely not now. This has gone on long enough as it is. So
Yeah.
And sleepy sleep.
Yes. So next movie is arguably an even bigger meme.
More memes.
Yeah, this is...
And it would have been very perfect if we timed it correctly.
Yeah, if I was born, like, I don't know, like, 13 years previously, or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so... Welcome back to, like, 2007 YouTube memes. Everyone's favorite memes.
Yeah, how appropriate.
Basically, like, when we, like, started doing YouTube stuff.
Oh, wait. Isn't this the birth of YouTube? Or was that 2006?
No, that was earlier.
Yeah, that was 2003, I think.
Yeah, the very beginning was, like, 2003 or 4, but, like, the first kind of bump of, like, more primary usage was about, like, 2006-7. Yeah.
Here we go. The renaissance of YouTube.
Oh, boy. So we'll get to enjoy that and see if what else there is to this than the meme.
Yeah.
But yeah.
On that note, goodbye.
Bye.